Several reasons suggest that royal control worked over a large area, at least in the core of empire. This was because of the strategic position of Pataliputra, from where royal agents could sail up and down the four directions. Besides this, the royal road ran from Pataliputra to Nepal through Vaishali and Champaran. We also hear of a road at the foothills of the Himalayas. It passed from Vaishali through Champaran to Kapilavastu, Kalsi, Hajra, Peshawar. Megastani speaks of a road connecting northwestern with Patna. Roads also linked Patna and Sasaram, and from there they went to Mirzapur and central India. The capital was also connected with Kalinga by a road through eastern Madhya Pradesh, and Kalinga its turn was linked with Andhra and Karnataka. All this facilitated transport, in which horses may have played an important part in the northern plains of the Ganga, and other rivers were routes of communication. The Ashoka inscriptions appears on important highways. The stone pillars were made in Shunar near Varanasi, from where they were transported to North and South India. The Maurya control over settled parts of the country may have matched the Mughals and perhaps of the East India Company. Medieval transport improved due to more settlements on the highways and the use of strapped horses. The company used the gun, which was reinforced by steam navigation from early 1830s onwards. The Mauryan did not have deal with a large population. All told, their army did not exceed 650,000 men. If 10% of the population was recruited, the total population in the Gangetic Plains may not have been more than 6.5 billion. Ashoka inscriptions shows that royal breed ran all over the country except the extreme east and south. 9 Ashoka inscriptions have been found in Andhra Pradesh. 9 Ashoka inscriptions found in Andhra Pradesh. 9 Ashoka inscriptions are found in AP and Karnataka, but rigid state control may not have proved effective much beyond the middle Gangetic zone, owing to difficulty in the means of communication. The Maurya period constitutes a landmark in the system of taxation in ancient India. Kautilya names many taxes to be collected from peasants, artisans and traders. Kautilya అర్థశాస్త్రంలో రాశాడేమని, this required strong and efficient machinery for assessment, collection and storage. The Mauryas attached greater importance to assessment than to storage and depositing. The Samaharta, highest officer in charge of assessment, and Sannidhata was the chief custodian. Samaharta and Sannidhata was the chief custodian of state treasury and storehouse. The harm done to the state by the first is thought to be more serious than the harm caused by the second. So in fact, the elaborate machinery for assessment first appears in the Maurya period. So the list of taxes mentioned in the Arthashastra is impressive, and if these were really collected, very little would be left to people to correct. We have epigraphic evidence for the existence of rural storehouses, which shows that the taxes were also collected in kind, and these granaries were meant for helping local people in times of famine and drought. It seems that punch-marked silver coins, which carry the symbols of peacock, punch-marked silver coins, పంచ్-మార్క్డ్ సిల్వర్ కాయిన్స్లో ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? పీకాక్, హిల్ అండ్ క్రెసెంట్. పీకాక్, గుట్టలు, క్రెసెంట్, ఇవన్నీ హిల్ క్రెసెంట్ formed the imperial currency of Mauryas, may have been discovered in large numbers. Without doubt, Without doubt, they helped the collection of taxes and payment of officers in cash. Sorry, this is cash. Printing was not there. Further, because of its uniformity, the currency must have facilitated marked exchange of wider area. Art and architecture in Mauryan period. So, the Mauryas made a remarkable contribution to art and architecture. They introduced stone masonry on a wide scale. Megasthenes states that the Maurya palace at Pataliputra was as splendid as that the capital of Iran. Fragments of stone pillars and stumps indicating the existence of 80-pillared hall. Kumrahar, modern Patna. Although these remains do not call the magnificence mentioned by Megasthenes. They certainly attest Ashoka pillar, Laurya Nandhagar, Ashoka pillar. The highest technical skill, Samahartha, highest officer assessment, treasury, state, Sannidhata, Samahartha. So the high technical skill attained by the Maurya artisans in polishing the stone pillars, which are as shining as northern NBPW laga. Now the black polished ware, it must have been a difficult task to carry the huge blocks of stone from the quarries and polish and embellish them when they were placed erect. All this seems to be a great feat of engineering. Each pillar is made of a single piece of buffer colored sandstone. Super. Only their capitals, which are beautiful pieces of sculpture from the lions or bulls, are joined with the pillars on the top. These polished pillars were set up throughout the country, which shows the technical knowledge involved in their polishing and transport had spread far and wide. The Maurya artisans also started the practice of hewing out caves from rocks for monks కోసం to live in. The earliest examples of Barabar caves at a distance of 30 kilometers from Gaya. Later, this kind of cave architecture spread to western and southern India. Spread of material culture and state system. On the one hand, Mauryans created for the first time a well-organized state machinery which operated in the heart of the empire. On the other hand, their conquest opened the doors for trading and missionary activities. It seems that the context established by administrators, traders, Jaina Buddhist monks led to the spread of the material culture to the Gangetic basin, to the area situated on the periphery of the empire. The new material culture in the Gangetic basin was based on the intensive use of iron, prevalent of writing, plenty of punch-marked coins, and abundance of beautiful pottery called NBPW. BPW, Northern Black Polished Ware, introduction of burnt bricks, ring wells. NBPW, burnt bricks, ring wells, and above all on the rise of towns. All above the rise of towns in northeastern India. A Greek writer called Arian states that it is not possible to record with accuracy the number of cities on account of their multiplicity. Thus, the Mauryan period witnessed a rapid development of material culture in the Gangetic plains. On account of easy access to the rich iron ores of South Bihar, people used more and more of bull capital, Rampurva. Iron implements. This period knows socketed axes, sickles, and also plowshare. The spoked wheel also came to be used. Spoked wheel kuda varu. Although arms weapons were the monopoly of the Mauryan state, the use of other iron tools were not restricted to any class. So their use and manufacture must have spread from Gangetic basin to the distant parts of the empire. In the Mauryan period, burnt bricks were used for the first time in northeastern India. Mauryan constructions made of burnt bricks have been found in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Bihar and UP lo use chesaru. Houses were made of both bricks and timber, which was available in plenty because terracotta figurine of Mauryan period. Thick vegetation in ancient times. Megasthenes speaks of wooden structure at the Maurya capital Pataliputra. Excavations show that logs of wood were also used as an important line of defense against flood and foreign invasion. So the use of burnt bricks spread in outlying provinces of the empire because of moist climate and heavy rainfall. Moist climate ఉండడం వల్ల heavy rainfall, it was not possible to have lasting and large structures made of mud or mud bricks as we find in dry zones. Therefore, the diffusion of the use of burnt bricks proved to be a great boon. So they used burnt bricks అన్నమాట. ఎందుకంటే క్లైమేట్ అలా ఉంటుంది, ప్లస్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం హెవీ రైన్ఫాల్ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇట్ వాజ్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్ టు హ్యావ్ లాస్టింగ్ అండ్ లార్జ్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ మేడ్ ఆఫ్ మడ్తో కానీ మడ్ బ్రిక్స్తో చేస్తే ఉండవు కాబట్టి సో దే యూస్డ్ బర్న్ట్ బ్రిక్స్. Eventually, it led to the flowering of towns in the different parts of the empire. Similarly, the ring wells కూడా ఏంటి ఫస్ట్ టైం మౌర్యన్ పీరియడ్లో గంగాటిక్ ప్లేన్స్లో బాగా దొరికాయి అన్నమాట. బియాండ్ ద హర్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది ఎంపైర్ సిన్స్ రింగ్ వెల్స్ వుడ్ సప్లై వాటర్ టు పీపుల్. సో అవును కదా, మరి వాళ్ళకి డొమెస్టిక్ యూస్ కోసం అంటే వాటర్ సప్లై కోసం వాళ్ళు రింగ్ వెల్స్ని వాడుకున్నారు. ఇట్ వాజ్ నో లాంగర్ ఇంపరేటివ్ టు ఫౌండ్ సెటిల్మెంట్స్ ఆన్ ద బ్యాంక్స్ ఆఫ్ రివర్స్. అవునా, They also served as soak pits in congested settlements. The elements of Middle Gangetic material culture seem to have been transferred with a modification to northern Bengal, Kalinga, Andhra and Karnataka. Of course, the local cultures of these regions were also developing independently. In Bangladesh, where we find the Mahastana inscription in Bogra district in Maurya Brahmi, you find the Mahastana inscription. Mahastana inscription in Bangladesh. Mahastana in Bangladesh, where we find Mahastana inscription in Bogra district. This is in Maurya Brahmi. We find NBPW at Bangar in Dinapur district. NBPW ships have also been found at the same place. Chandrakettugar in 24 Parganas in West Bengal. Gangatic associations can be settlements as Sisupalnagar in Orissa. The settlement of Sisupalnagar is ascribed to Maurya times in the 3rd century BC, and it a view of Low Maharishi caves, Barabara hills. NBPW and iron implements and punch-marked coins. NBPW iron implements and punch-marked coins, since Shishupalgarh is situated near Dhauli and Jaugada, where Ashokan inscriptions have been found on the ancient highway passing along the eastern coast of India. Material culture may have reached this area as a result of contact with Magadha. This contact may have started in the 4th century BC, when the Nandas are said to have conquered Kalinga, but it happened after the conquest of Kalinga in the 3rd century BC. Possibly as a measure of pacification after the Kalinga war, Ashoka promoted some settlements in Orissa, which had been incorporated into his empire. Although we find iron weapons and implements at several places in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka in the Mauryan period, the advance of iron technology was the contribution of the megalith builders, who are noted for various kinds of large stone burials, including those of a round form. But some of these places have Ashokan inscription as well as threads of NBTW belonging to the 3rd century BC. For example, Ashoka inscriptions have been found at Amravati and other sites of Andhra at several places in Karnataka. It therefore appears that from the eastern coast, ringed soak wells found at Roper. ఈ పేరు ఎక్కడో విన్నానే. Ingredients of the material culture percolated through Maurya connecting to lower Deccan Plateau. The art of making steel may have spread through Mauryan contacts in some parts of the country. Steel objects belonging to 200 BC or to the earlier date have been found in Middle Gangetic plains. The spread of steel may have led to the jungle clearance and the use of better methods of cultivation of Kalinga. This could create conditions for the rise in the city kingdom in that region. Although the Shatavahanas rose to power in the Deccan in the 1st century BC, yet in some ways their empire was a projection of the Mauryan Empire. They adopted some of the administrative units of the Mauryas. Their state followed the Mauryan pattern in several respects. It seems that stimulus to state formation in peninsular India came from the Mauryas, not only in the case of the Chetis and Shatavahanas, but also in the case of Cheras Kuda, the Kerala Putras, Cholas, and the Pandyas. According to Ashokan inscriptions, all the three last peoples together with the Satyaputras and the people of Tamraparni of Sri Lanka. Tamraparni antaru. Tamraparni, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka lived in the border of Mauryan Empire. They were therefore familiar with the Mauryan state. The Pandyas were known to Megasthenes, who visited Mauryan capital. Ashoka called himself dear to the gods, a title which was translated into Tamil and adopted by chiefs. Dear to the gods. ఏంటిది? Devanam Piyadashi. Dear to the gods. Ashoka పేరు Devanam Piyadashi. So dear, a title which was translated into Tamil and adopted by the chiefs mentioned in the song. The existence of inscriptions, occasional NPPW portions and Panchmarked coins in parts of Bangladesh, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka from near about 300 BC shows that in the Mauryan period, attempts were made to spread elements of the Middle Gangetic Basin culture is distant areas. The process seems to be in the accord with the instructions of Kautilya. Kautilya advised that new settlements should be founded with the help of cultivators who were apparently Vaishyas, and with that of Shudra laborers who should be drafted from the overpopulated areas. In order to bring the virgin soil under cultivation, the new peasants were allowed remission in tax and supplied with cattle, seeds and money. The state followed this policy in the hope that it would get back what it had given. Such settlements were necessary in those areas where people were not acquainted with the use of iron ploughshare. This policy led to the opening of large areas, cultivations and settlements. However, the Mauryan towns facilitated the diffusion of the material culture of Gangetic plains into the tribal belt of central India, extending from Chota Nagpur in the west to the Vindhyas in the west. Cannot be said, but it is quite clear that Ashoka maintained intimate contact with the tribal people who were exhorted and observed Dhamma. Their contact with the Dhamma Mahatras appointed by Ashoka must have enabled them to imbibe rudiments of higher culture prevalent to the Gangetic basin. In this sense, Ashoka launched a deliberate and systematic policy of acculturation. He states that as a result of the diffusion of Dhamma, men would mingle with gods. This implies that a tribal and other people would take to the habits of settled, tax-paying peasant society and develop respect for paternal power, royal authority, and for monks, priests, and officers who helped enforce his authority. His policy succeeded. Next, Ashoka claims that hunters and fishermen had given up killing and practiced Dhamma. This means that they had taken to sedentary agriculture life. Cause of fall of Mauryan Empire. The Magadhan Empire, which had been reared by successive wars culminating in the conquest of Kalinga, began to disintegrate after the exit of Ashoka in 232 BC. Several causes seem to have brought about the decline and fall of Maurya Empire. Brahmanical reaction. The Brahmanical reaction began as the result of policy of Ashoka. There is no doubt that Ashoka adopted a tolerant policy and asked the people to respect even the Brahmanas. But he prohibited killing of animals and birds, derided superfluous rituals performed by women. This naturally affected the income of the Brahmanas. The anti-sacrificial attitude of Buddhism and Ashoka naturally brought loss to the Brahmanas, who lived on the gifts made to them in various kinds of sacrifices. Hence, in spite of the tolerant policy of Ashoka, the Brahmanas developed some kind of antipathy to him. Obviously, they were not satisfied with his tolerant policy. They really wanted a policy that would favor them and uphold the existing interests and privileges. So, some of the new kingdoms that arose in the ruins of Mauryan Empire were ruled by Brahmanas, the Sungas, and the Kanvas, who ruled in Madhya Pradesh and further east on the remnants of the Maurya Empire were Brahmanas. Similarly, the Satavahanas, who founded a lasting kingdom in the west Deccan Andhra, claimed to be Brahmanas. These Brahmana dynasties performed Vedic sacrifices which are neglected by Ashoka. మగధ తర్వాత అశోక ఎంట్రన్స్తో మౌర్యలో బుద్ధిజం ఉండడం వల్ల అశోక మౌర్య బుద్ధిజం తీసుకోవడం వల్ల ఏంటిది బ్రాహ్మణ్స్ లాస్ట్ మనీ పోయింది కాబట్టి వీళ్ళ వల్ల మౌర్య కొలాప్స్ అయిపోయింది. మౌర్య కొలాప్స్డ్. నెక్స్ట్ శాతవాహన అదర్ కింగ్డమ్స్ స్టార్ట్ అయినాయి. So next is financial crisis. The enormous expenditure on the army and payment to the bureaucracy created financial crisis for the Mauryan Empire. The enormous expenditure on the army and payment of bureaucracy created financial crisis for the Mauryan Empire. Next, as far as we know, in ancient times, the Mauryans maintained the largest army.